Hey everybody, I'm Tim Ward and welcome back to Garden Sense. Folks, it was another busy week over at Rosen's Online as people are starting to order grass seed, they're starting to pick up grub control products, Kickstart obviously, and we're getting a lot of emails about when to put down another application of Turf Trust. So we did pick 5 questions that we're going to address here today, so buckle up everybody, let's jump right in. The first question is from Pavel. Hi Tim, I've planted different varieties of apple trees on my property in Poolesville, Maryland. Some are 3 years old, some 2, and some as recent as last spring. 90% of them have developed these marks as soon as it got very hot. Now most leaves are completely yellow with dark brown spots and starting to shed leaves. Any suggestions on what I should do? So this looks like cedar apple rust, and it's a disease that's pretty common among apple trees, obviously cedar trees, and a number of other varieties. And given the heat that we've been experiencing, I'm not really surprised that this is popping up. Now, here's what I would do. The first thing I would do is try to prune off the really bad leaves. We're not gonna be able to save those. So prune them off and discard them, again, to try and get rid of the disease and get it as far away from the tree as possible. The next thing you want to do is head over to Rosen's Online and pick up a bottle of Liquid Cop. This is a disease control, it's a fungicide, it's a really good product, and one of the issues that it will help most with is rust. So I would definitely put down some Liquid Cop now to see if we can't help turn it around. The other thing that I would do is actually put down some Kickstart. Kickstart is going to strengthen the roots of these trees, help them get even more established. Even some of those 3-year-old trees could use Kickstart. What's going to happen is once your tree has a little bit stronger roots, it's going to be able to fight diseases off a little bit more effectively. So again, with younger trees, disease is a pretty common thing, and something like Kickstart is going to strengthen those roots and really help it out. So again, you want to prune off any of the really bad leaves. Then I would put down some Liquid Cop, and then again, make sure you use Kickstart. I would use it a couple of times between now and the end of August. Again, just to really help that root system get established, or if it is already established as some of those older trees, just strengthen it all the more. Then what you're gonna wanna make sure you do is in the springtime, you're gonna wanna make sure you put down Garden Trust. Garden Trust is a fantastic product for apple trees. I use it on my own types of apple trees, and it works really well at producing fruit. So all the products I've mentioned are available over at rosensonline.com. So head over there, and we hope this helps clear it right up. The next question is from Al. Hi, I planted several varieties of tomatoes this year. All are growing well, except for the Marzano. Just about every tomato has black rot underneath. Do I need to add some nutrient to the soil for this to go away? So blossom rot, end rot, it all results from a calcium deficiency. So you're right, your plant is not getting the nutrition that it needs. However, there's 2 reasons for this. The first could simply be that there's not enough calcium in the soil, and that's ultimately what's causing this blossom rot. The other, and frankly more likely scenario, is that the plant just isn't able to absorb enough calcium that it needs. There could be plenty in the soil, but the root structure of this particular or these particular plants are just struggling to take in the nutrition that it needs. So there's 2 things that I would do. The first thing I would do is actually head over to Rosen's Online and pick up Rot Stop. Rot Stop is a really great product. It's easy to use, and it'll help correct that calcium deficiency that's going on in the plant. The other thing I would do is I'd pick up a bottle of Kickstart. I know I've already talked about Kickstart, and by the way, I'm going to talk about it a few more times today as well because it's such a great product. Kickstart strengthens the roots of any plant, including grass, tomato plants, trees, bushes, you name it. Well, one of the things that it does is when it strengthens the roots, that means that the root system is able to take in more nutrition from the soil. So in this scenario, Kickstart is going to help that tomato plant take in more calcium. So pick up some Rot Stop, pick up some Kickstart. I think you're gonna see the tomatoes really start to turn around. It's not gonna do anything for the tomatoes that are already experiencing that rot at the end of the tomato. What it is going to do though is help protect any green tomatoes or tomatoes that just aren't ripe yet and are still growing. That's where the Rot Stop and the Kickstart are really gonna come into play. Question number 3 is from Larry. Tim, what fertilizer or product can I use to help my lawn? It's currently stressed and losing green color. So if you watch this video podcast, or if you were an avid listener to the old Garden Sense radio show, you know that there's only one lawn fertilizer product that we recommend, and that's Turf Trust. Turf Trust is simply the best lawn fertilizer on the market, bar none. It's the only fertilizer that has touched my grass in the last 8 years, and it will always be the only fertilizer that touches my grass because it's that good. So to help that lawn green up, especially during these hot summer months, Turf Trust is the only product that we recommend in terms of fertilization. Now, you'll be sensing a theme to the show here. Kickstart is another product that I would actually make sure that I put down, especially for the heat stress that's going on in your yard right now. Kickstart strengthens the roots. A healthy root system in your lawn means greener grass. So pick up some Turf Trust and get that down ASAP. And make sure that you put down Kickstart at least 2 times during the month of August. And then again, we want to look at September and October and make sure we get down at least 1 application of Kickstart at that time as well. Both of these products combined are going to turn your lawn around really, really quickly. The fourth question is from Andrew. Hello, I have newly planted 3 weeks ago linden green tree that is turning yellow. We have clay soil that gets a sprinkler system watering each morning. Any advice on how to get the leaves green again? All right, so I think you got 2 things that are going on here right now. The first is probably heat stress. It's a newly planted tree. It's only a couple of weeks old in terms of when you transplanted it. So there's a good chance that the root system just simply isn't established yet. And what's happening is the heat of these, kind of dog days of summer are starting to get to the tree. The second thing that's going on is because that root system isn't established, I think the tree is probably not getting enough iron, and that's why some of the leaves are starting to turn yellow. That's a telltale sign of chlorosis. And again, we just need to help get that root system established so that it can start taking in more nutrition from the soil. And you guessed it, the best product to do that is Kickstart. I would recommend, frankly, putting down 1 application of Kickstart per week on this tree for the next 4 to 6 weeks. And I think given that, along with the regular watering that it's receiving, you're going to start to see the tree turn around. Now, the other thing I want to mention is make sure that you give it some Plant Trust. Plant Trust is formulated for trees and shrubs to really improve the foliage development of those plants. It's a slow release, high nitrogen fertilizer. It works incredibly well. Again, it's formulated specifically for trees and shrubs, so I definitely think that you want to put down Plant Trust. Both Kickstart and Plant Trust are available over at Rosen's Online, so head over there, pick up what you need. You'll be glad you did. The last question for today is from Ken. Hey Tim, I have a lawn of tall fescue in northwestern Arkansas. What is the best time of year to dethatch, especially if planning to overseed this fall? Or should it be done throughout the year? So when it comes to dethatching, you want to make sure the grass is actively growing. And the reason for that is the dethatching process naturally pulls up a little bit of the healthy grass, and what can happen is it'll actually leave smaller bare spots throughout your entire lawn. And you want to make sure that the grass has enough time to naturally grow and fill in those bare spots, again, that are caused by that dethatching process. Now, there are 2 times of year that we really recommend that you dethatch. You can dethatch in the spring, or you can dethatch in the fall. Now, given the fact that you're going to be overseeding, dethatching in the fall is the way to go. It's going to help that new seed get established much more quickly, and I think you're actually going to see a much healthier lawn. It's going to sprout a lot sooner because you went through that dethatching process. Now, you don't really need to do it more than once a year, but again, if you want to do it in the spring and you want to do it in the fall. Some of it depends on how often you mow your grass, especially during those colder months when it goes dormant, how much thatch builds up. I typically don't need to do it more than once a year, but again, given that you have a tall fescue lawn in northwestern Arkansas, your weather is going to be a little bit different than it is here, so you may actually need to do it twice. But the fact that you're looking to overseed this fall, the time is now to do it. Frankly, the timing couldn't be more perfect. All right, folks, just a couple final thoughts. We really should be taking a look at the lawn calendar because we are now in August, and there are a couple of products that we want you to start considering getting down, again, depending on what your kind of long-term plans are and even your short-term plans are for your lawn. The first is obviously Kickstart. I have mentioned it a lot in this video podcast, and that is by design because it is so important for your plants and for your lawn. Again, it's August. We recommend 2 applications of Kickstart this month. So make sure you head over to rosensonline.com and pick up a couple of bottles. Now, if you are going to be overseeding in the fall, then you really need to start thinking about taking care of some of the weeds that are in your lawn. So we always recommend Weed Beater Ultra for weed killing, and mid-August is really the time to start that process. So again, Weed Beater Ultra, we have 3 different types. We have it in a spray bottle, we have it in a concentrate, or my personal favorite, it comes in that ready-to-use bottle that hooks up right to your hose. Again, all 3 products are available over at rosensonline.com. The third and final thing I want to mention in terms of what to be looking for are taking control of any grubs that might be in your lawn. This is the time of year where you're going to want to put down another application of BioAdvanced 24-hour grub killer. Again, during the month of August, those grubs have hatched and they're going to start to eat on the roots of your grass, and you're going to start to notice some dead spots. And again, it might look like disease, might look like heat. It's actually caused by the insects underneath the soil. So again, BioAdvanced 24-hour grub killer is something that you want to put down now. Folks, thanks so much for spending all this time with us today. We really appreciate it. Remember, if you have questions, send an email directly to me, tim@rosensonline.com. Give me about 48 hours to get back to you, but I promise we answer each and every email that we receive. I hope you guys have a great rest of the week. God bless.